Welcome back. All right. So I said I was going to update Luminar between the videos, but I want to record the entire process, even when things break, so we can figure out how to solve them. So let's update Luminar, but I'm going to close out of Photoshop because it does have that plug. It is a plugin, so I don't want it to be open when I open up Luminar. And we don't want Photoshop to be open when I open up Luminar. So it's going to open Luminar and then pop up saying, hey, do you want an update? There we go. So we'll install the update. Let that go through the process. And then once this is done installing and updating, we will test our droplet again and see if that fixes the connection. I wonder if it's a similar thing, the connection between the operating system and Photoshop. You remember when we had that issue before? Because I had the beta installed, and when I uninstalled it, it broke that link, so the droplet itself didn't work. I wonder if maybe there was a connection between Luminar and the beta version that was an issue there as well, and that was why it wasn't working properly. So maybe this update will fix that connection. And if you don't happen to have an updated version available, which is dependent on the software, I've had this sort of thing happen. This break happened, quite honestly, a lot with actions between different pieces of software. Sometimes the fix can be basically uninstalling that software and then reinstalling it. And then when in that reinstallation process, it will fix any of those links that should be there that might have gotten broken there. Okay, I don't really have a database in Luminar necessarily because I don't use it as my digital asset management tool. That's what Capture One is. I just use it for individual edits. Okay, so let's test this now and see if Luminar works, if the Luminar connection works. Go load up the image, and then it'll run through the Topaz Labs sharpen and denoise. For some shoots, if I know I'm doing like a nighttime shoot, I will go in there and adjust the action to increase the denoise some or the sharpen some. It depends on the shoot, right? So depending on, like if it's a nighttime shoot and I had to crank the ISO a lot, then you can have a lot of noise in there. And I found that Topaz Labs plugins do a pretty good job of removing it. Again, you can do too much of anything, but I like to have a lot of different options in there. And even if I know there's like denoise capabilities inside of Luminar, there's denoise inside of Capture One, but these are all written by different companies, and so the algorithms are going to be slightly different, and I like layering that in. Think of it like, again, if you're painting something, painting with different brushes can give you different outcomes, and I like adding that little bit of subtleness in the editing to get a nice result that is not just using one piece of software, one thing. It's using a lot of things together to get a great result. So let's see if this connection works with Luminar. Doesn't really look like it's going to be opening. It should have opened the image by now. Okay, well, we might have to pull Luminar out of our action entirely if this doesn't work. I'm going to pause the video, just let it sit here for a couple minutes and watch it and see if it does pop open. If not, then we'll go ahead and remove it from our action sequence for this particular set. Okay, yeah, I've sat here and waited for another 5 minutes or so, and it's not doing anything. It seems to be frozen. So what we'll do, again, we'll kill this and Photoshop. Oh, we can just stop that, actually. We don't need to kill it completely. Let's come into our action here and find Luminar, and we'll just delete that out of our. Okay, so it's going to create the layer still. That's fine. I don't want to break anything else, but we'll just delete that. And let's come in here. We'll recreate our droplet here. This does. We removed Luminar Neo. Okay, that's fine. We can close out. And now let's test this again. Okay, so this should run through everything without Luminar. And if we need to pull Luminar back in, we can do that in our final stage of edits. I have a feeling, honestly, for this set, we won't really need that because there are a few close-ups. Luminar does really great with some skin smoothing. And there are a few close-ups that we won't want to do some one-offs on, but generally speaking, because this shoot was outdoors and part of the purpose of this shoot is like in the minimalistic background, we wanted to make sure to get that minimalistic background in the shots, right? So that's just a normal, may want to, or may not need Luminar in most of the shots. So, but this is processing the sharpen, just a little bit of sharpening, not too much. And then denoise. Okay, now it should. Great, perfect. So it's now writing, and so it should write. So it created our layers. We still have our layers. Everything's good. It's saving the file, and then it should close the file, and we will get our updated file here with all of our layers ready for any sort of final edits that we might want to do. But the benefit of this and what this means is that now we can take the rest of these files and automate this. So let's go ahead and end this video here. This one's starting to run a little bit long, and then this will save and close like we've seen it do before. And in our next video, we will start the process of doing this batch edit on all of the rest of our pictures. So I'll see you in the next video.